Hey everyone, my name is Shaw. I'm a MBA student at Southern New Hampshire University. Today I'll be presenting the growing digital forest, data centers, and climate impact. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts and with my work, I'm unable to attend. So I'm pre-recording this a day before at 11:30 p.m. Yeah, let's get into it. The digital revolution has created an invisible forest of infrastructure that powers our connected world. Yet this ecosystem has profound environmental implications that often remain hidden from users. Data centers form the foundation of our digital lives, consuming enormous amounts of energy, power, everything from social media interactions to cloud storage. The scale of this consumption is staggering when we consider that powering the digital infrastructure requires equivalent energy output that could be offset by planting 3.7 billion trees, illustrating the massive environmental footprint of our virtual activities. The urgency of addressing this impact becomes clear when we recognize that data centers alone consume approximately 1% of global electricity demand, a figure that continues to grow as our digital dependence deepens. Understanding this environmental cost of our digital habits requires examining both the direct and indirect impacts of data center operations on climate systems. Beyond the immediate energy consumption, data centers require significant water resources for cooling and also contribute to local heat island effects and drive demand for rare earth minerals used in server construction. The carbon footprint extends far beyond of the facility walls, encompassing the entire life cycle from construction materials to end of life disposal of equipment. Behind every digital interaction lies a complex network of physical infrastructure that most users never see or consider. Yet, this invisible foundation consumes vast amounts of energy and resources to maintain our connected world. The scale of data processing is almost incomprehensible, with global data centers handling approximately 463 exabytes of information monthly. This is the equivalent to storing the entire content of the Library of Congress 93 million times over. This massive data flow requires continuous operation of thousands of servers, networking equipment, and cooling systems that operate 24/7 to ensure uninterrupted service delivery. Even simple actions like sending an email or saving a document to the cloud trigger a cascade of energy intensive processes across multiple data centers, highlighting how our seemingly effortless digital experiences are supported by substantial physical infrastructure. The invisibility of this infrastructure creates a disconnect between user behavior and environmental impact, as the convenience of instant access masks the energy costs of digital services. When we stream a video or participate in a video conference or upload a YouTube video of a environmental talk, our data travels through multiple server farms, each consuming electricity and generating heat that requires additional cooling systems. The physical reality of cloud storage contradicts its ethereal name, as every byte of data must be stored on physical drives, housed in climate controlled facilities that operate continuously to prevent data loss. This infrastructure operates with the same energy intensity as small cities, yet remains largely out of sight and out of mind for most users. Green coding represents a fundamental shift in software development philosophy, where even developers consider environmental impact. Oh, sorry. This approach recognizes the software behavior directly, and it drives hardware energy consumption, and that poorly optimized code can force premature hardware replacement, consuming additional resources unnecessarily. Research demonstrates that implementing green coding practices can reduce energy consumption by about 30 to 50% through optimized algorithms, efficient data structures, and mindful resource management. Like, where developers must consider not just immediate functionality, the long-term resource implications of their coding decisions will be impacted. Principles of green coding extend beyond individual applications. It encompasses system architecture, deployment strategies, and ongoing maintenance practices. The implementation of green coding practices requires both technical expertise and cultural change within development organizations. The academic and professional conference ecosystem has evolved into a significant contributor to carbon emissions, with major technology conferences generating substantial environmental impacts through both travel and infrastructure demands. The recent analysis of AI conferences reveals that events like Near IPS 2024 generated over 8,254 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions from travel alone. This is a figure that exceeds the daily carbon output of Vancouver, Canada's approximately 680,000 residents. This staggering environmental cost raises fundamental questions about the sustainability of traditional conference models, particularly as these events continue to grow in size and global reach. The environmental impact extends beyond travel to include venue energy consumption, catering waste, accommodation resources, and the carbon cost of producing conference materials and swag. The irony is particularly stark when considering that many of these conferences focus on technologies designed to solve global challenges. Yet the conferences themselves contribute significantly to environmental problems. The conference industry's environmental challenges compounded by issues of equity and accessibility, as carbon-intensive travel requirements create barriers for participants from underrepresented regions or those with limited travel budgets. The current model perpetuates inequalities by favoring attendees who can afford international travel and accommodation costs, while the environmental burden falls disproportionately on developing nations that contribute least to aviation emissions. Research suggests that digital collaboration technologies could reduce conference-related emissions by up to 90%, while simultaneously improving accessibility and reducing costs of participants. Social media platforms are also ubiquitous in daily life, yet their environmental impact remains largely invisible to users who engage with these platforms for hours each day. This is without considering the energy costs of their digital interactions. Recent research analyzing the carbon footprint of major social media platforms reveals significant variations in environmental impact, with TikTok generating approximately 2.63 grams of CO2 per minute of usage, and Reddit, a popular social media, producing 2.48 grams per minute of scrolling activity. These figures may seem small in isolation, but when multiplied across billions of users engaging with platforms for extended periods daily, the cumulative environmental impact becomes substantial. The energy consumption stems from multiple sources, including content delivery networks, video processing and compression, as well as recommendation algorithms. It's a constant synchronization of user data across global server networks. Understanding these per-minute emission rates helps contextualize the environmental cost of digital entertainment and social connectivity. So, the environmental impact of social media extends beyond direct usage to encompass the entire ecosystem of content creation, storage, and distribution that enables these platforms to function seamlessly. Video content, particularly short-form videos, dominate platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and require significant computational resources for processing, compression, and delivery to millions of users simultaneously. The recommendation algorithms that keep users engaged consume substantial processing power as they analyze user behavior patterns and serve personalized content in real time. Additionally, the storage requirements for user-generated content continue to grow exponentially, requiring constant expansion of data center capacity and associated cooling infrastructure. Social media companies are beginning to recognize their environmental responsibilities, with some implementing renewable energy initiatives and carbon offset programs, but the rapid growth in usage often outpaces efficiency, and it outpaces all that comes with improvements. Users can contribute to reducing this impact through mindful consumption patterns. Environmental Environmental awareness represents a critical psychological foundation for sustainable behavior change, serving as an intrinsic motivator that drives individuals to engage in environmental protection activities and make more conscious consumption choices. Research demonstrates that environmental awareness functions as a key predictor of pro-environmental behavior, with individuals that possess higher levels of environmental consciousness and that they're more likely to adopt sustainable practices in their daily lives. The relationship between awareness and action is complex, influenced by factors such as perceived self-efficacy, social norms, and access to sustainable alternatives. Social media platforms have emerged as powerful tools for fostering environmental awareness. So these are kind of like the pros and cons of the situation around social media. On one hand, it's effective in bringing environmental awareness, but on the other hand, it's also a huge consumption of energy and resources. These platforms enable the rapid dissemination of environmental knowledge, facilitate connections between like-minded individuals, and they amplify voices advocating for sustainable practices and policy changes. The impact of social media on environmental awareness varies significantly across different platforms and user demographics, with research indicating heterogeneous effects based on usage patterns and individual characteristics. Studies examining WeChat usage in China, for example, reveal that frequent users demonstrate significantly higher levels of environmental awareness compared to infrequent users. This suggests that social media engagement can effectively enhance environmental consciousness through exposure to diverse information sources and peer influences. So this is the challenge. Exponential growth in AI research and development has created unprecedented strain on the physical infrastructure that supports academic and professional conferences, revealing fundamental sustainability challenges in how the global AI community organizes knowledge. So this isn't even about AI consumption. Like we've already talked about that in terms of data centers. We're just talking about the actual conferences where these scientists meet up, right? Major AI conferences like Near IPS are, or Near IPS, I really don't know how to say it, are experiencing attendance levels that increasingly outpace available venue capacity, forcing organizers to implement lottery systems for registration and seek ever larger venues that may not exist in sufficient number to accommodate future growth. The underlying driver of this infrastructure crisis is the remarkable growth in AI research, with publication rates more than doubling over the past decade as the field has attracted and increased funding, talent, and institutional support. The research community faces a critical decision point where traditional conference models will result in escalating environmental costs. This challenge necessitates innovative approaches that can maintain the essential functions of conferences while dramatically reducing their environmental footprint. The rapid growth and intensification of academic conferences have created significant psychological stress and causes harm in research communities, manifesting in widespread negative sentiment and mental health concerns that threaten the collaborative spirit essential for scientific progress. Analysis of online discussions surrounding major AI conferences reveals that 71% of conference-related posts expressed negative sentiment, indicated widespread dissatisfaction with current conference structures and processes. This negativity stems from various factors, including hyper-competitive submission processes, overwhelming review burdens, and the high-stakes nature of conference acceptance for career advancement. The psychological toll is particularly evident in the 35% of negative posts that explicitly reference mental health keywords, such as anxiety, burnout, and stress. The mental health crisis within academic conferences reflects broader systemic issues related to research culture, career pressures, and the unsustainable pace of academic competition. The environment particularly affects early career researchers who depend on conference publications for career advancement, but face increasingly difficult odds of acceptance due to volume growth. Addressing these mental health concerns is not just a matter of individual welfare, but essential for maintaining the collaborative culture that drives scientific innovation and progress. The concept of community federated conferences represents a transformative approach to academic gatherings that addresses the fundamental sustainability and accessibility challenges facing traditional conference models. This innovative framework decouples the three primary functions of conferences: 1. Peer reviewing, and 2. Publication. 3. Knowledge dissemination, and 4. Community building. These are interconnected but distributed layers that can operate more efficiently and sustainably. The CFC model proposes regional hubs of 50 to 200 participants that provide intimate, meaningful interactions while dramatically reducing travel requirements and associated carbon emissions. The implementation of federated conference models requires sophisticated coordination and technology infrastructure, but it offers significant advantages in terms of sustainability, cost effectiveness, and inclusivity compared to traditional approaches. If we start to do early pilots of this, this could demonstrate their viability and help refine the approach for broader implementation across the research community. The relationship between social media usage and environmental awareness operates through complex mechanisms that combine direct social influence with knowledge-mediated pathways, offering insights into how digital platforms can be leveraged to promote environmental consciousness and sustainable behaviors. Green software engineering represents an emerging discipline that integrates environmental considerations into every phase of the software development lifecycle. The Green Soft model compares and provides a comprehensive framework for understanding and implementing sustainable software practices, encompassing both direct environmental impacts of software products and indirect effects through user behavior and system optimization. This model addresses the full spectrum of sustainability concerns, including energy consumption during development and deployment, resource utilization through the software lifecycle, and the environmental impact of hardware requirements driven by software demands. The framework emphasizes the importance of measuring and monitoring software environmental impact using specialized tools that can track energy consumption at the function level. The practical implementation of green software engineering requires both technological tools and cultural changes within development organizations. Modern development environments increasingly include energy profiling tools that can measure software power consumption in real time, allowing developers to make informed decisions about their algorithm choices, data structures, and system architectures too. So how do we measure environmental impact? We can do this through systematic approaches that account for all significant sources of emissions and resource consumption throughout the lifecycle of digital activities and events. The fundamental calculation framework of activity data multiplied by emission factors provides a standardized method for quantifying environmental impact across multiple different activities, enabling comparison and optimization efforts. The digital infrastructure that supports environmental awareness and sustainable behavior change is unevenly distributed across populations, creating disparities in access to environmental information and digital tools that could facilitate sustainable practices. Internet penetration rates serve as a fundamental determinant of social media adoption and environmental information access, with higher connectivity directly correlating with increased usage of platforms that can foster environmental awareness. The evolution of internet infrastructure, particularly the rapid expansion of mobile connectivity, has important implications for environmental information access and platform design. Social media platforms function as powerful behavioral change environments that can activate and reinforce personal environmental norms through multiple psychological mechanisms, including social comparison, peer influence, and normative feedback. The role of peer influence and social comparison mechanisms on social media platforms represents a particularly powerful pathway for promoting environmental behavior change at scale. Integration of sustainability concepts into higher education curricula represents a critical leverage point for transforming software development practices and creating a generation of environmentally conscious technology professionals. Hands-on experience with green coding practices and environmental measurement tools provides students with practical skills and deeper understanding of the relationship between software development and environmental impact. Pilot programs that include laboratory exercises, measuring software energy consumption, and projects comparing the environmental impact of different programming approaches and real-world case studies of sustainable software development help students develop both technical competencies and environmental awareness. Systemic solutions to the sustainability challenges facing academic and professional conferences require fundamental reconceptualization of how knowledge sharing and community building functions are organized and delivered. The implementation of rolling peer review cycles represents a particularly promising approach to reducing the stress and inefficiency associated with traditional conference deadlines, while improving research quality and environmental sustainability too. The effectiveness of social media in promoting this awareness is significantly enhanced by underlying social networks structures that connect users through real life relationships. The role of community belonging and social identity in sustaining environmental engagement highlights the importance of fostering genuine connections and shared purpose. Advanced optimization strategies for sustainable software development require sophisticated measurement and analysis tools. Automated testing frameworks that continuously monitor software environmental impact represents an essential component of sustainable development practices, ensuring that environmental efficiency is maintained throughout the software lifecycle. Effective environmental management requires systematic measurement and tracking approaches that establish clear baselines, enable comparison of different interventions, and provide comprehensive assessment of environmental impacts across the entire lifecycle of digital products and services. Baseline establishment represents the foundation of any improvement effort, providing reference points that are put up against which sorry, providing reference points against which future progress can be measured and evaluated. Comparative analysis of different sustainability interventions provides crucial insights into which approaches deliver the greatest environmental benefits and cost effectiveness, enabling evidence-based decision-making about resource allocation and strategic priorities. Building resilient and adaptive sustainability strategies requires flexible frameworks that can evolve with changing technology, environmental constraints, and organizational needs while maintaining core environmental objectives. Hybrid models that combine digital and physical elements offer promising approaches to balancing environmental impact with functional requirements, enabling organizations to optimize for multiple objectives simultaneously. Effective sustainability initiatives increasingly require collaboration across traditional, organizational, and sectoral boundaries, as environmental challenges are too complex and resource intensive for any single organization to address alone. Cross sector partnerships that combine complementary expertise and resources from academia, industry, government, and civil society organizations can achieve environmental outcomes that would be impossible through individual efforts. Emerging technologies and infrastructure developments offer unprecedented opportunities to dramatically reduce the environmental impact of digital systems while maintaining or improving their functionality and performance. Successful implementation of comprehensive sustainability strategies require successful fuck 2 1 successful implementation of comprehensive sustainability strategies requires careful sequencing of initiatives that build momentum through early wins while working toward fundamental transformations that address root causes of environmental impact. Short-term wins that can be implemented within 6 to 12 months include energy efficiency improvements in existing systems, adoption of green coding practices, as well as pilot implementations of virtual or hybrid event models. Medium-term transformations that occur over 2 to 5 years typically require more substantial organizational and cultural changes. And long-term vision and strategic planning help ensure that short and medium-term initiatives are aligned with ultimate sustainability goals and contribute to systemic change, rather than merely incremental improvements. The transformation towards sustainable digital systems requires coordinated action on multiple levels, from individuals and users making conscious choices about their digital practices. Organizational leadership plays a crucial role in scaling sustainable practices beyond individual initiatives to achieve industry-wide transformation and systemic change. Organizations that implement comprehensive sustainability strategies, invest in green technologies, and demonstrate environmental leadership create competitive pressures and market opportunities that encourage a broader adoption of sustainable practices. That's it from me. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really sorry I can't be there to answer questions in person, but feel free to message me or ask me in the chat, the Sustainable SNHU chat, or you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. And thanks so much.